Hello, everyone. Welcome. The webinar is now beginning, and we'll start with a word from David Robinson.
Hi, hello. On behalf of our board chair, Ben Cowan-Dewar, and our board of directors, welcome to our first webinar on the tourism impacts as a result of the COVID-19 virus. My name is Dave Robinson. I'm the interim president and CEO of Destination Canada. You may know Destination Canada better as the Government of Canada's international tourism marketer, but we also have a legislative mandate to provide information to industry and government about the visitor economy. We've invited you today so that we can share information as we have it, as imperfect as it may be. I've had a chance to brief our Minister Jolie in Vancouver, and we're working very closely with her and her team, some of whom are going to be listening with interest to this webinar. As part of the broader federal family, we want to invite key federal actors and national associations to come together, first to tell you what resources are available to support you as you work your way through issues your business is facing. We'll not have all the answers for you today, but I commit to you to using our resources to get information to you as quickly as we get it. We'll be taking notes throughout and posting them in English and French. If you have colleagues who couldn't join today, a recording will be made available for them to access on our website a little later on. Now I'd like to introduce my colleague Sébastien Dubois, Executive Director of Partnerships at Destination Canada, to give a few remarks en français.
Merci David. C'était David Robinson, président et directeur général par intérim à Destination Canada. Mon nom est Sébastien Dubois, je suis directeur exécutif pour les partenariats avec l'industrie touristique à Destination Canada. Au nom de notre président et notre conseil d'administration, bienvenue à notre premier webinaire sur les impacts pour le secteur touristique dû au COVID-19. Vous connaissez peut-être mieux Destination Canada en tant que l'agence du gouvernement canadien responsable du marketing pour le tourisme au niveau international. Sachez que nous avons également le mandat législatif de fournir des informations à l'industrie et au gouvernement sur l'économie des visiteurs. Nous vous avons invité aujourd'hui à vous joindre à ce webinaire pour vous partager les informations telles que nous les avons, aussi imparfaites soient-elles. David Robinson a eu l'occasion d'informer notre ministre, l'honorable Mélanie Joly, de la situation présente dans l'industrie. Sachez que nous travaillons très étroitement avec elle et son équipe, dont certains d'entre eux sont présentement sur ce webinaire. En tant que membre de la famille du gouvernement fédéral, nous voulions inviter les principaux acteurs fédéraux et les associations nationales à se réunir, principalement pour vous informer des ressources disponibles pour vous aider à résoudre certains problèmes auxquels votre entreprise est confrontée en ces temps difficiles. Nous n'aurons pas réponse à toutes les questions aujourd'hui, mais nous nous engageons à utiliser nos ressources pour vous informer au meilleur de notre connaissance. Ce webinaire sera principalement en anglais, mais nous prendrons des notes tout au long du processus et les publierons en anglais et en français. Si vous avez des collègues qui n'ont pas pu se joindre à nous, un enregistrement sera également disponible sur notre site Internet sous peu.
Thank you so much, Seb. We know our sector is mostly small and medium-sized businesses who will be especially hard hit by this crisis, and they're feeling it now. But the tourism sector is inherently one of relationship building, which puts us in a good position when it's time to rebuild. We can go so much further together if we tackle this as Team Canada. So let's get to work.
Nous savons que notre secteur est largement composé de petites et moyennes entreprises et qu'elles seront particulièrement touchées par cette crise. Mais le secteur du tourisme est par essence un secteur basé sur les relations, ce qui, sans aucun doute, nous aidera à rebâtir pour le futur. Nous serons beaucoup plus forts si nous nous attaquons à ce problème en tant qu'équipe Canada. Alors, mettons-nous au travail tous ensemble.
Today, I'm pleased to introduce some of our speakers. We have Pierre Cleroux, who's Vice President of Research and the Chief Economist from the Business Development Bank of Canada, who's here to talk to you about what they're doing to keep small business afloat. Charlotte Bell, President and CEO of the Tourism Industry Association of Canada, will give an update on the conversations she's been having in Ottawa. Philip Mondor, President and CEO of Tourism HR Canada, will give you an update from the tourism employer's point of view. And Elizabeth Lacourcière, Director, Outreach and Marketing at Parks Canada, will provide an update from Parks Canada. For my own team at Destination Canada, we have my friend and colleague Gloria Laurie, Chief Marketing Officer, who will provide us an update on Destination Canada marketing and research. Over the past days, we've received questions from you submitted through the email. We'll spend some time addressing them at the end of the webinar. When we're done, we'll be posting a recording of the webinar as well as key links on Destination Canada's COVID-19 update page. The crisis is fast moving, and as we said, we may not have all the answers to your questions today, but please know that we're all working in cooperation with our partners at the federal level to support you.
Au cours des derniers jours, nous avons reçu les questions que vous avez soumises par courriel. Nous avons prévu du temps à la fin de ce webinaire pour les adresser. Comme vous le savez, cette crise évolue rapidement et nous n'avons peut-être pas réponse à toutes vos questions aujourd'hui, mais sachez que nous travaillerons en coopération avec nos partenaires au niveau fédéral pour vous soutenir. Suite à ce webinaire, nous publierons un enregistrement ainsi que les notes bilingues et des liens clés sur la page de mise à jour de COVID-19 sur notre site internet de destinationcanada.com.
Thank you. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our first panelist, Pierre Cleroux, from the Business Development Bank of Canada.
Thank you, David. We are the Business Development Bank of Canada, and we have about 60,000 clients across the country, a lot of them in the tourism sector. And we are there to support SMEs across the country, especially in difficult times. So if you are a client of BDC, we invite you to contact directly your account manager at BDC, and they will be able to help you to find solution for this difficult period of time. If you're not a client of BDC, we suggest that you contact directly your financial institutions. They are going to assess your situation and your needs, and they are going to contact us or the organization like EDC to find the best solution and the best tools for you. So if you're a client of BDC, call us directly. If you're not a client of BDC, we can help you, but you have to first contact your financial institutions. We have put together a number of tools to help small and mid-sized firms across the country, and we are eager to help you. So don't hesitate to contact us directly if you're a client. If you're not, the first step is really to contact your financial institutions. Nous sommes la Banque de développement du Canada. Nous avons 60 000 clients, tous des PME à travers le Canada. Plusieurs de nos clients sont dans votre secteur, le secteur du tourisme, et nous avons le mandat de supporter les PME dans cette période très difficile. Donc, si vous êtes un client de la BDC, nous vous proposons d'appeler directement votre directeur de compte qui va pouvoir trouver des solutions avec vous pour vous aider. Excusez-moi, si vous n'êtes pas un client de la BDC, nous vous invitons à contacter directement votre institution financière pour avoir une première évaluation de votre situation et de vos besoins. C'est l'institution financière qui va nous contacter ou une autre organisation comme EDC pour trouver les meilleures solutions pour combler vos besoins. Nous avons mis en place une série de mesures que vous voyez présentement sur la diapo, et toutes ces mesures sont ciblées pour aider les entreprises pendant la période qui est difficile présentement. Donc, n'hésitez pas à nous contacter, je le répète, directement si vous êtes un client de la BDC ou à travers votre institution financière si vous n'êtes pas un client déjà de la BDC. Merci.
Thank you so much, Pierre. And Pierre and the other panelists will be helping answer the questions that we've received from you a little bit later on in this presentation. I'm now going to turn to Charlotte Bell from the Tourism Industry Association of Canada to say a few words.
Okay, thank you very much. We did have a PowerPoint. I don't see it up there, but I'll start anyway. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you first and foremost to DC for organizing this. All of our partners have been, we've all been working together, and of course, a Team Canada approach is extremely important at this difficult time. And we know that the industry is really struggling, and we all want to be there for all of you. So we are continuing to work on your behalf, and also with all of our other national partners and the provincial and territorial associations. We are in constant contact with each other, including meetings, Mean Business, and Convention Centres of Canada. So thank you to all of those organizations who've come together and have been working on behalf of the industry. On veut remercier tous nos partenaires. C'est super important qu'on travaille ensemble dans ces temps qui sont très difficiles pour tout le monde dans l'industrie. Et puis, je pense qu'il faut vraiment continuer à travailler en équipe. C'est l'équipe Canada, en fait. Et puis, je pense que la façon dont on va s'en sortir, c'est en travaillant ensemble et en solidarité. If you can change the slide. Thank you. Merci. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing right now and just give you a bit of an update. Of course, you know, we've been, and tourism has been hardly hit, very hardly hit as a first industry to feel this impact very, very strongly. So we have been in constant contact on a daily basis with Minister Joly and Minister Morneau's offices, a number of officials at ISED. The Bank of Canada actually reached out to us last week. So we were able to work with those parties and provide some guidance and ideas about what they could do to support the industry. So our focus really was on immediate government support and acting quite quickly. We're reporting to government officials, of course, industry issues in real time and impact information, and also reporting on support measures to the industry in real time. So we're doing a lot of communication on a daily basis on the TIAC website. So if you haven't been going to the TIAC website, I suggest that you may want to go there. We are putting a number of documents on there on a daily basis to provide people with information, with tools, with useful links. And I know that other organizations are also pushing out the information that we have on our website. All right. We know that you've been asked to fill out a number of surveys from a number of organizations, and we know that that can be daunting at times. And I guess the only comment I will make is, in order for us to make the case to government to take swift action and to really pay very close attention to what's happening to the tourism sector and make it a priority, it has been really important for us to have that information. So first and foremost, thank you very much for doing that. And we do know that you've received a lot of requests. That said, we continue to work together with our other partners to find ways to collate that information, work together, and maybe streamline it to make it simpler and easier for you, and also to provide the best information possible to give to decision makers. Alors, on a des appels quotidiens avec le gouvernement, les ministres Joly et ministre Morneau. ISED, la Banque du Canada aussi nous a parlé au très début de cette crise. Alors, on a une communication continue avec tous ces organismes-là. On sait que on vous a demandé et on continue à vous demander de remplir des formulaires pour donner de l'information sur l'impact que vous ressentez présentement pour vos entreprises. Alors, je sais que ça peut être beaucoup d'informations tout en même temps, mais c'est très important pour nous de pouvoir partager cette information-là avec les gens au gouvernement. Alors, on va essayer de continuer à travailler avec tous nos partenaires pour rendre le processus le plus facile possible pour vous. Et puis aussi continuer à donner l'information importante aux instances gouvernementales comme on continue dans cette crise. You can change the slide. So we're also obviously talking to government about stimulus and planning for success post-COVID-19. So we're looking for government support in recovery efforts and funding, and ensuring that businesses sustain uncertain times and are able to continue their operations. We've got a number of tools. I think this may be the following slide, but that's okay. On this slide that you are seeing right now, all right, this is the wrong slide. Anyhow, there's a number of support tools that have been put into place. And I know that Phil is going to talk about some of those, and Pierre has already given you a little bit of information about that. So obviously, Regional Development Agency support is still there. We put out some information last Sunday on our website from Minister Joly's office the moment that it became available. There are also work sharing programs, access to credit, business credit availability programs, payroll support for up to 3 months, mortgage deferral through large banks, income tax payment deferral until August 31st, 2020, and more sector-specific initiatives that are going to be announced. And as I said, I know that first and foremost, I think that people, and what we're hearing from a lot of you, is that you're having difficulty getting through to some of the agencies that are providing, or organizations that are providing this relief. And we are, again, constantly communicating this information with government. I know that Service Canada actually received about 500,000 calls in the last week. So the volume of calls and inquiries is huge. They are working, obviously, to try and provide this information to people as quickly as possible, but we continue to feed that information back to them and to urge them to make that information available to people, and also to be able to respond to people when they're calling with queries. You can go to the next slide. I guess all I can say is, if you are a member of TIAC and you opted out from our communications, please, if you want to receive our member communications, please contact us and we'll put you back into the system. If you're not a member of TIAC, we still want to support everyone in the industry. So we are making sure that as many organizations have access to our links and the information that we're putting out, and we are pushing that out on a daily basis. If you are part of an organization who wants us to add your link to our website, or you want to add our link, please do so. The more people have this information on a timely basis, the better. So thank you very much again, Dave, and I'll leave it at that. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde, et puis on va continuer à travailler pour vous en équipe, et puis on reste fort ensemble.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. I'm now going to turn to Phil Mondor from Tourism HR Canada.
Thank you so much, Dave. I could echo many of the comments that Charlotte has offered. It's great to be part of the forum and to try and provide some of the information that people are seeking. Essentially, Tourism HR Canada, just 2 introductory comments before I get into some of the content. We've been focused on essentially 2 items. One is, what is the impact on COVID to the labor market in this sector? And secondly, what can be done about it? This presentation today will focus on the what can be done about it, but the data that supports the information is also going to be available in the briefing material after this event. And just a quick note here, in terms of the impact on jobs, we know it's going to be severe in the industry. Our initial forecasts suggest at least 50% of our workers will be impacted, and that could account for more than 1 million individuals whose jobs may be impacted. And indeed, we're seeing articles that would suggest that it could be higher. And by the way, just at 11:30 today, the Prime Minister mentioned that they received over 500,000 EI applications this week compared to 27,000 last week. Okay, so with that in mind, we know the severe issue here. We'll go to the next slide, please. What I'm going to do is just speak to some of the very recent announcements the Government of Canada has made on some of the relief programs, and then I'll segue into a few other things that people are asking for with respect to helping employers deal with the labor market. So first on the list here is this emergency care benefit. The websites where this stuff is contained will be included in the deck as well. So I'm going to just reiterate a number of the things that are on those sites. Now this care benefit is a temporary income support for both workers and parents, and it's essentially directed at people that are not eligible for EI. So for Canadians without paid sick leave, or who are sick and quarantined or forced to stay at home to care for children, the government is doing a number of initiatives under this COVID scenario. They're waiving the 1-week waiting period for those individuals. They're waiving their requirement for medical certificates. They're introducing a care benefit package, which attributes to about $900 bi-weekly for up to 15 weeks. This is going to be administered through CRA. This does include workers who are self-employed, who are quarantined, who are sick with COVID-19, but do not qualify for EI benefits. Workers could include self-employed who are taking care of family members who are sick with COVID-19, and such as elderly parents or those that do not qualify for EI sickness benefits. And finally, also for parents with children who require care or supervision. Now, to apply for this, it will be available for application in April, as is the case with many of the other initiatives I'm going to mention. And there are different ways to go about doing it. Essentially, there are 3 options. There is either through the CRA My Account or to build an account on Service Canada, or there will be a toll-free number that's offered at the moment. It has not been made public, at least that we can find it. If we can go to the next slide, please. This is referred to as the emergency support benefit. This is more focused on long-term income support for workers, and it's really directed at Canadians who lose their jobs or face reduced hours as a result. And there's not a lot of information available on this one at the moment, but this support is delivered through CRA as well. There is a budget of $5 billion towards this, and it's directed at people that are not necessarily eligible for EI. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of other details or information on this. We're expecting that this will roll out over the next week or so, and as it is made available, we'll certainly be putting it on our sites. If we could go to the next page, please. One of them that we've had probably most calls on concerns the announcement of the 10% wage subsidy. This here is $3.8 billion to help prevent layoffs by providing small businesses with temporary wage subsidies. So the federal government will provide small businesses with 10% wage subsidy for the next 90 days, up to a max of $13.75 per employee or $25,000 per employer. And eligible employers include not just small businesses, but corporations that are eligible for small business deductions, and not-for-profit organizations and charities. Now, businesses can benefit from this immediately. It will start, the support will be reduced from the remittances of income tax. Now, to apply, right now you can do so on the CRA department, this is, in terms of applying, this is a CRA or Department of Finance item. At the moment, we don't, again, have information on this. We're expecting it in the near future, and we will certainly be broadcasting it. I know that Charlotte would like to weigh in here for a moment too, but just a quick note on this. We've had very many calls on this very item, and I know that TIAC and others like CFIB and other groups are encouraging government to increase the percentage of this wage subsidy. Before I proceed on or go to the next slide, Charlotte, did you want to add a comment on what TIAC is doing with respect to the wage subsidy item?
Well, thank you, Phil. And you're absolutely right. That is one of the things that we are discussing on a daily basis. I had discussions yesterday with a number of folks at Finance Minister Jolie's office, and we continue to say this is a good initiative, but it is nowhere near what other countries are doing, and there's going to have to be more. And also the other point, of course, we don't have all the information yet. It's taking a while to get this moving, and we are doing what we can to impress upon them the importance of getting this going as soon as possible. So thanks, Phil.
Thank you. And again, this is on our radar. We'll be broadcasting information as soon as it is made available. I'll come back to that at the late end of the presentation. Bonnie, if we could go to the next slide, please. Another item you would have heard about and has had it's a program that's been around for some time and has actually been quite popular with their sector, is the work sharing program. Now, this program helps prevent layoffs when there's temporary reduction in normal level of business activity that's beyond the control of the employer. The program provides income support to employees eligible for employment insurance benefits who work on a temporary reduced week while the business recovers. Applications should be submitted at least 30 days in advance. It just takes time to process them. Employees on work sharing agreement must agree to reduce schedule of work and to share what's available in terms of the work over the period of time. The Government of Canada did introduce temporary special measures during this COVID period that will extend the maximum duration of sharing agreements from 38 to 76 weeks. And that's in itself very helpful. Application is available already online. You just have to locate it at ESDC's site. Now, again, we'll connect you with that on our follow-up note. But if you just Google Work Sharing Program ESDC, you'll come to the same site. It's well informed. And basically, there's an application. You'll need to also submit the other documents you see on the screen. When you're doing this, you'll also notice you'll need to submit it at the regional office where you're located, which is one of four, either in Atlantic provinces, Quebec, Ontario, or finally Western Canada with territories. Okay, if we could go to the next slide, please. So those are samples of what the federal government has already done in terms of investments and movements that will assist with labor, and it's certainly a good start. We're encouraged by them. We're still waiting on information, as you know. There are other needs that have been identified by workers, things like how to work on HR tips, how to deal with employee health, and other matters around what the impacts will be over time. So this organization is focused on doing three things that's available to you. One, we are measuring the impact of this over the lifespan of the project, or sorry, of the scenario, and we'll be broadcasting that information routinely. Our website has a curated information piece that is very specific to workforce needs. And finally, we will be disseminating this through the regular channels, although we'll be leaning heavily on TIAC. And if we could just go to the next piece, please. Finally, I just wanted to reinforce a little bit about this site because it does contain most of the information I supplied, the links, and indeed other information. We are going to be adding to it some Q&A or FAQs, if you prefer, as we learn more about these programs and can answer questions. For example, people are already asking things like, if my employee is quarantined, will they be eligible for EI? Or if someone is exposed in my team to COVID, what should I be doing? When will these benefit packages kick in? What will happen to my TFW workers? And so on. We encourage you to go to this site. This will be where we keep all the answers active. And with that, I just want to say thank you again. And any information we have moving forward will be disseminated through the regular channels. As I said, we'll lean heavily on TIAC, and then this site will be maintained. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Phil. I'm now going to turn to our partner, Parks Canada, Elizabeth Lacourcière, to provide an update from Parks.
Thank you, David. Bonjour tout le monde. Merci de l'invitation. On comprend que ce n'est pas des temps faciles pour tout le monde. Ça nous fait plaisir de vous faire une petite mise à jour sur la situation dans les endroits de Parcs Canada. Alors, la santé et la sécurité des Canadiens, des visiteurs, des membres de l'équipe de Parcs Canada sont notre priorité. Alors, depuis hier, les endroits de Parcs Canada, les services aux visiteurs, plus particulièrement, ont été suspendus jusqu'à nouvelle date. entre autres, toutes les infrastructures telles les salles de bain, les centres de visiteurs, les lieux historiques nationaux sont fermés. Alors, on fait la surveillance pour ajuster ces dates, évidemment, de façon régulière. So, health and safety of Canadians, our visitors and our team members is a priority at Parks. As of yesterday, Parks Canada suspended the visitor services in all national historic sites, national parks, and marine conservation areas across the country until further notice. It means that facilities such as visitor centers, historic sites, washrooms, campgrounds are closed for the moment. The front country, the back country, open spaces remain accessible for those who would still wish to visit and walk in Parks Canada places. We remind the users that their safety and security is important, that they have to be considerate of their surroundings and also of the local community health advice. Of course, inside Parks Canada places, we might have some areas that require more monitoring or that visitor safety is more important. So we invite everyone to look at Parks Canada website, where all the information on specific Parks Canada places can be found. So for example, if you have specific questions about some closures within Banff National Park or within Bruce Peninsula, all the information would be there. Of course, we know that businesses, operators, third parties are crucial to delivery of services inside and around Parks Canada places. We understand it's a difficult situation right now. Operators, third parties are able to continue their operations. So those would not be closed to services. And we invite, of course, visitors or operators. Visitors to visit the operators' websites to obtain more information, but also for operators who would have questions to connect with their local Parks Canada representative with whom they have an agreement. Parks Canada, critical functions will remain in place, such as snow removal, fire response, water management, and avalanche forecasting, for example. And some Parks Canada staff are able to work from home, so we can ensure some business continuity. So if you have questions inside or for local Parks Canada persons, they are available to you. Of course, the general information is on Parks Canada's website, and you see the links on the slide here, but parkscanada.gc.ca. In terms of operations and transactions, so we ceased reservations for accommodation and for annual passes, for example, until April 30th. And reservations until then also will be refunded automatically. So clients don't have to connect with us. Accommodation reservations until April 30th will be refunded. We're currently looking at the situation for annual passes, whether they are for specific places or for the national passes. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, we work with lots of Indigenous communities on tourism initiatives, but also their traditional uses and culture. So we're working very hard with them right now to ensure continuation of their traditional use and activities inside Parks Canada places. Parks Canada will be there when we are ready to talk about recovery. We monitor regularly. We're part of Team Canada also, so we'll make sure we're totally aligned with the rest of the industry, and again, follow the Parks Canada website and social media for more details.
Merci beaucoup, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Let's turn now to Destination Canada's Chief Marketing Officer, Gloria Laurie, who will give a little bit of an update on Destination Canada's role.
Bonjour tout le monde. Thanks, Dave. It's my job just to very quickly update you on what is happening in our marketing and research world. If you can advance the slide, here's some points there that really speak to the fact that it's not just Destination Canada, but the partners across the country have updated their landing pages. So when you first come to websites, you're seeing a lot of helpful information for travelers. What all of the partners, I can also tell you, have done, and Destination Canada included, is we've stopped our paid media marketing, not just in Canada and the US, but around the world in all of our markets. It's certainly not the right time to be promoting travel. What we continue to do is post anything that we know is helpful or useful, and we work with our partners to understand that. The most important thing we can be doing right now is protecting budget and resources, redeploying the staff teams, working on plans that are going to help us in rebuilding and recovering in the future. So that includes working with our partners to understand what we would be doing and how we would refocus the existing plans that we have. And if you could just go to the next slide, it talks a little bit more about the fact that we have had to cancel Rendez-vous Canada. That is our annual trade show that we have that helps support businesses and link to international buyers for tourism product. What we'll do right now is work to see how we can continue to facilitate those relationships. I can tell you that internationally, our teams in all the markets are working really closely with the tour operators to understand what their plans are for the future and to appreciate the impact to their businesses. And if you can go forward one more. The other piece of information I wanted to let you know is we're working with a number of our partners, and everyone is trying to offer resources. One of our media partners has been Google, and they have currently posted in both languages a resource for small businesses on things that you could do and resources you have access to that have no cost that you might not have known about or considered. So we suggest you could also look there. And then from a research front, if you want to just go forward one more, we're tracking real time the impacts, and we're seeing this, of course, through hotel and air data that comes into us, as well as working with our research and our media monitoring teams to understand what's being said, what is the communities and what are global travelers saying, where is the sentiment at, and so we're looking at that information to pull in and be listening and understand what content people are looking for, and also to understand in the future when is it right to share some of more information about traveling. The other piece that I wanted to speak to is we're pulling in research both through Oxford Economics, McKinsey, trying to understand specifically, you heard from some of my other colleagues on this call, we're all trying to understand impact as a way of modeling a recovery or of next steps. And DC has got a lot of experience in working with tourism specific modeling, and we're going to be sharing that information with our federal colleagues and with our partners across the country in order to understand when is it the right time to start launching or rebuilding certain activities. So those are the kinds of things that we're working to share with everybody as it comes available to us. The main principle is how timely can this information be, how clear and transparent the source is, and how much help will it provide everybody, whether a small business owner or our larger partners, in making some decisions and working together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gloria, and thank you all for your presentations today. We're now going to move to a question and answer period. Over the last couple of days, we've been collecting questions that folks have submitted in advance, and we're going to address them now. As a reminder, we may not have answers to all the questions that were submitted, but we're going to share the questions that we think were top of mind. And we're going to post updates and additional information on our website later. Seb?
Nous vous avons demandé de soumettre des questions en avance pour ce webinaire. Nous allons maintenant en aborder quelques-unes. Nous vous rappelons que nous n'avons peut-être pas toutes les réponses à vos questions pour l'instant, mais nous travaillerons avec nos partenaires fédéraux pour obtenir plus d'informations. Nous publierons des mises à jour de mise à jour et des informations supplémentaires sur notre site Internet.
Thank you. So I'm going to read out the question, and I'm going to pick on some of our presenters to see if they have additional information or insights they can share. So the first question, under the category of financial support, our few remaining staff are on drastically reduced wages, are forced to stay at home, and also manage childcare. They are not eligible for EI. What other support is available for them? And Phil, I might ask you to take that one on if you don't mind.
Well, thank you so much, Dave. And I thought the question couldn't have been a better definition of what the Government of Canada put to mind when they created the Emergency Care Benefit Program, which I did mention when I was doing my brief presentation. I would direct people to that website, look for Emergency Care Benefit. It is indeed directed at that very market, those that are having to stay home, managing childcare, or those that are self-quarantined, or sorry, that are self-isolated or quarantined. That's exactly what the program is aimed to do. Just a reminder that it provides $900 bi-weekly, up to $900 bi-weekly for up to 15 weeks of relief. So the website at the slide did contain a little more information, and indeed we'll include that link in your information following this presentation.
Okay, because this is about, thank you very much, Phil. Because this is about financial support, I'm going to turn to Pierre next. The question is, a consolidation loan would reduce our monthly payments and help us with our cash flow issues we expect to have through this summer. Will these types of consolidation loans be available through our Tier 1 banks?
I believe so. Like I said before, the first place to look is your financial institution, and they're going to make an assessment about your situation and also your need. So inside the question is obviously, I think the biggest need right now for many businesses is to deal with the cash flow, because as the demand drops significantly, while revenue are dropping at the same time, and costs are still, some of the costs are still there. So the most immediate assistance is probably with cash flow, but financial institutions, including BDC, are going to look also at how can we help for the recovery and for the midterm situation. So I believe both situations are going to be covered.
Great, thank you very much. This next question has been touched on by both Charlotte and Phil already, but I'm going to, because so many people have an interest in it, I'm going to read the question that we received, and then, Phil or Charlotte, you can jump back in again. The question is, where do we apply for the 10% wage subsidy for employees? Further, this is not enough funds to keep workers employed. What is being done to try and increase this amount?
Okay, I'll start briefly, and I know Charlotte would probably like to reiterate as well. At the moment, we do not have information on where to apply. It is forthcoming. As soon as we do have that information, we will be broadcasting it through the channels, as is the case, I'm sure, with others on this call. In terms of what's being done, I'm going to say something very brief, but Charlotte, that's more her wheelhouse here. We do know that a number of the national associations, including TIAC and indeed the Canadian Federation of Independent Business and others, have been recommending or proposing that the wage subsidy be increased. So I know that there's a fair amount of effort being put into having the government look at the possibility of increases there. Specifically to what TIAC is doing, of course, Charlotte would be the best to answer.
Thanks, Bill. Well, that's exactly it. And of course, we are, again, having daily conversations with officials in government. We just put out a press release also, I believe it's gone out now, calling on government to do more for the tourism sector in particular. And we are also starting, I think we'll be able to start this campaign on Monday, whereby you'll be able to go to our site, and we've already drafted a letter to go directly to MPs, because it's becoming more difficult to reach certain people by phone, of course, with offices being closed. and start a national campaign asking for more support for tourism. And of course, that includes this initiative. We're also working with other national organizations in hospitality and tourism, including Restaurants Canada and the Hotel Association of Canada. So we are joining together, to really implore on government to take additional steps and take them swiftly to assist the tourism industry in particular. And this particular initiative is not directly aimed at tourism alone, but that is part of one of the things that we have been advocating quite strongly. So we continue to do that, and we will continue to do that.
Okay, thank you very much, Charlotte. I've got another question I'm going to send to Pierre, but I pass it along understanding he may not have all of the answer. The question is, small business loans are not the right solution now. What other funding is available to business such as ours?
Well, at BDC, we offer loans, and that's really our mandate. There's going to be other organizations, especially at the provincial level, would be able to offer something different, like subsidies. So I think what is important for businesses is to look from their provincial government and see if this similar program or such a program to help them to get different kind of financing. We are focusing with EDC and financial institutions about getting loans and at a better rate that we did before, but we don't offer subsidies. So you have to look at the different source, and one of them is going to be the provincial governments in different part of the country.
Excuse me. Thank you very much, Pierre. Sorry about that. Here's another question. You may have a challenge. It'll be for you again, Pierre, but Phil may have a point of view, and welcome him to chime in if he feels like it. This wasn't directed to him originally. The question is, as a seasonal tourism operator, we don't generate any revenues from November to May. The financial assistance programs currently being offered appear to require information on current losses due to COVID-19. How will companies like ours be able to obtain assistance for losses in the coming months? And Pierre, do you want to try and tackle that?
Yeah, we do serve seasonal businesses. We do have a lot of clients who are in the tourism industry or other industries, for example, fishing, that are seasonal. So we are used to service them. So don't hesitate to, like I said, to contact BDC directly if you're already a client, or to go through your financial institutions and see what are the different options. But it's not an issue for us. We serve all businesses in every part of the country, every sector of the economy, and including the one who are seasonal.
Okay, and Phil, I'm imposing on you here. Did you have a view on this? And if not, I can move on to the next question. Oh, I think you're on mute, sir.
One thing I can add, but I'm not an informed person on this. I just know that, and maybe this is a bit of what Pierre was referring to. I'm sorry if I'm duplicating here, but there is business credit availability program that was announced by the government that was $10 billion, of course, through BDC and EDC to support businesses with cash flow challenges. And I know that information is also still forthcoming. But that's something to watch for. I suppose it might be part of the answer.
Okay, thank you. The next question is about federal regional development agencies. And unfortunately today, we don't have anybody with us who can directly answer the question. But I might impose on Pierre one more time for his thoughts. And I think that going forward, if we're to do this again, we'll certainly include representation from regional development agencies in the future. But the question we have is, I'm a new business, and I was told by FedDev Ontario that I do not qualify for funding for my business because it's less than 2 years old. Where do I get help? And so again, I know this isn't yours, and you don't represent FedDev Ontario or the regional development agencies, but I wondered if you had some thoughts to share on this question.
Well, you know, again, even if it's a startup or a business with less than 2 years of experience, if you are a client of BDC, and we do have a lot of clients who are starting their business, so don't hesitate to contact your account manager. If you're not a client of BDC, the first step is really to contact your financial institutions. You know, financial institutions, they said very clearly that they are going to do everything they can to help their clients, including, you know, smaller or clients who have already startups. And if they cannot help them, they are going to work with us at BDC and also at with EDC to find sorry, a solution. So even if you are a younger business, don't hesitate to contact your financial institutions or BDC if you're a client, because we serve them as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Not a fair question for you, Pierre. What we're going to do is for some of the questions that we had here, and particularly the questions that apply to a specific regional development agency, we're going to reach out to them and get their response to us, and we're going to post it in the Q's and A's in the coming days after this webinar, so that we have a specific answer to that question about FedDev Ontario. The next question, Elizabeth, is for you. It's about Parks Canada. It's a little long, so bear with me here. It says, typically, you see hundreds of people coming to our campgrounds in the summer season. Many are seasonal, long-term campers returning annually. What impacts are we likely to see in terms of COVID-19 impacts to regulations and laws for the 2020 camping season that we should be preparing for now? Things like health standards, work safe, emergency preparedness. Do you have a view?
We certainly can share that Parks Canada has been working very hard in the last month to ensure safe work practices. Of course, we have internal guidance at Parks Canada, but we also relied on the Public Health Agency of Canada information and also looked into all provinces and territories guidance. So our best advice right now would be to take information from the Canada.ca coronavirus website. There's a section there with dedicated, I must say, to health professionals, but it talks about preparedness and hygiene and self-distancing and how we can encourage our visitors to have best behaviors, and we can also prepare for that future. But I think for the moment, in terms of regulations or laws, it's too early to predict.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have two very specific questions about marketing. I'm going to turn to my colleague, Gloria, who's currently muted, I see. The first question is, would you be able to offer any advice on how small companies can receive assistance from Destination Canada to start marketing to the local market?
Yeah, so when I talked earlier about working with our partners, that would mean the provinces and the cities. I certainly recognize that our city destination marketers are going to be really heavily impacted, and that means just really them having a difficult time perhaps working with you as they would have. So my best suggestion is to make sure that you also have your information fed into your provincial organizations, because I know they are all looking to market domestically. And we work really closely with all 13 provinces and territories, and through them we get your information. So I would say they're your best first stop.
Okay, thank you very much. The other question is quite specific. It's about when will Destination Canada be issuing refunds for ITB Berlin?
So we had, because ITB Berlin canceled their event at the last minute, 74% of the costs were had to be realized by us. We just got those numbers in. We're going to work first with the provinces next week to start understanding how we can get refunds back to those who were able to. What I can say most importantly is our priority is to make sure that the small businesses and the city DMOs don't have to bear the financial brunt of ITB Berlin being canceled. So we will be able to update you next week, and our international team is working with our finance department to be able to then provide the refunds where needed. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Gloria. We're coming to the end of the time that we have allotted for today, and I want to thank everyone who submitted questions in advance. And as I said, we will go through all the questions, we will post the answers, we'll go to the experts and get them, we'll clarify things that were said today, put it on our website following the presentation. Please check our website regularly. This is a busy and critical time for everyone. I'd like to thank our panelists who are here today. The information you shared and your support of the industry is very much appreciated by everyone I know. We need to stay aligned and collaborate more than ever. So thanks to Pierre from Business Development Bank of Canada, Phil from Tourism HR Canada, Charlotte Bell from TIAC, and Elizabeth from Parks Canada. And Seb, just quickly, a quick wrap up, and then I have one more thing to say.
C'est tout ce que nous avons le temps pour aujourd'hui. Ça complète notre heure. Merci à tous ceux qui ont soumis des questions. Si votre question n'a pas été adressée, nous ferons notre possible pour y répondre sur notre section de COVID-19 sur destinationcanada.com, avec également les liens concernant ces questions. Consultez régulièrement le website pour nos mises à jour constantes. Je tiens également à remercier nos panélistes de s'être rejoints à nous aujourd'hui. Les informations que vous avez partagées et votre soutien à l'industrie sont très appréciés. Aujourd'hui, plus que jamais, notre alignement et notre collaboration sont nécessaires.
Thank you very much. We will have another webinar in the coming days as more information becomes available. Please sign up for our newsletter, and here on the screen you can see some of the places where you can sign up for information as we share it. We'll be sharing information about the next webinar through these channels. Please, as was mentioned by Gloria, I would take the opportunity to encourage you to stay very close contact with your local tourism authorities, including the destinations and provincial marketing organizations that we work so closely with. Please subscribe to our newsletter, as I said, and also the newsletters of the associations that are helping us here today, including the Tourism Industry Association in Canada and the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada as well. Keith Henry, who we work so closely with, was not available for today's webinar, but we will invite him to participate in the near future. Thank you very much, everyone, for all the work that you're doing, and thank you for your time again.